Welcome to the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center for the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires, Swimming and Diving Championships, the 2A preliminaries. This is Bob Akamian along with Alex Webster, and we are underway on our Friday preliminary round. We get started in the 2A ranks with the first of three heats in the women's 200-meter relay.
And we're already underway for three heats. Thank you, Bob. As we get underway here, it is coffee and swimming for a lot of folks. This is the early session, and we're already underway with the prelims. Ellensburg in lane 4, the top qualifier in this heat. They're the third qualifier overall. Prosser is in lane 1 with WF West in 2. West Valley of Yakima in lane 3, the aforementioned Ellensburg in lane 4. Sumner in 5 and Pullman in lane 6. Steilacoom in 7 and Sela in lane 8. And the lanes are in order, 1 at the bottom all the way up to 8 at the top of your screen. And right now in the early going, as anticipated, it is Sumner and Ellensburg duking it out. Sumner, the second best qualifier in this heat, and currently with that advantage in 5 as we shift to the next round of swimmers into the freestyle segment here. And thus far, Prosser with the best split so far, followed by WF West and West Valley. And it will be Sumner that finishes first, followed by Ellensburg. And then West Valley of Yakima. And the top 3, or rather the top 2 advancing with Beth's times from the other heats. And it will be an interesting competition here, as Seaholm, the defending champion at the 2A classification, is going to get a real challenge from teams such as Tumwater, Lake Washington, Ellensburg, and Port Angeles. And we'll certainly feature the individuals as well as the teams throughout this meet. And we move on to heat number 2 of the girls' 200-yard medley relay. And in this one, Lake Washington, the Kangaroos, the top qualifier, second overall, the top qualifier in this heat with a 1:55.32. Keep an eye on Jana Van Stone, a freshman. She'll be the third leg in this one for Lake Washington. Squalicum will be in lane 5, the second fastest qualifier. But from the top of your screen on down, Archbishop Murphy in lane 8 as they start with the backstroke here. Followed by Hawkinson in lane 7. Port Townsend in lane 6. Squalicum is in lane 5. Lake Washington, we mentioned, in lane 4 as we move down the screen. In lane 3, it is Fife. Lindbergh is in lane 2, and Cedro Woolley in lane 1. And right now it is the Kangaroos, Gabriel Rector, a freshman, that completes the backstroke round with the Kangaroos in front. And into the breaststroke is senior Jessica McKinney, as she leads the Kangaroos. Tough battle for second in lane 3, Fife. And Kiana Doris, a sophomore, helping to keep pace for that critical second spot. But it is the Kangaroos right now after nearly 2 legs with a body length lead. And here is Jana Van Stone out of the butterfly. And the Kangaroos with a good advantage in this one. The battle there for second between Fife and Squalicum. And into the freestyle leg we go. And for Lake Washington, Claire Kaczynski-Murphy trying to bring it home for the Kangaroos in this preliminary of the 200-yard medley relay. Finals will be up tomorrow morning with the 8 best moving on. And here is the Kangaroo team finishing in first place, followed by Squalicum and then Fife. And finishing things up, Archbishop Murphy. So there was some question as to whether there was a disqualification in Heat 1, and we've had that passed to us that that has not been the case. So all the results standing thus far. And at this stage, we move on to Heat 3, which will feature the fastest qualifier in the 200-yard girls medley relay. And that is Port Angeles with a team of Ashley Reed, Tracy Macias, Carter Jeskovich, and Audra Parizo. Their team qualifying in 1 minute, 55 seconds, and 21 100ths. The top qualifier overall. Keep your eye on lane 5, though. Tumwater. Abby Sullivan is the senior. She will lead things off in the backstroke. She is one of those that we will be talking about throughout this meet. As Tumwater going to try and give Port Angeles a run for their money here in heat number 3 of the prelims. Let's get a look at the lane assignments from the top of the screen on down. In lane 8, it is Capital. Kingston is in lane 7. Lane 6 is Seaholm. Tumwater we mentioned in 5. Port Angeles in 4. Mark Morris in 3 with Sammamish in 2. And North Kitsap in lane 1 at the bottom of the screen. And we're ready. Keep your eye on lane 5. Abby Sullivan, one of the best backstroke swimmers in the state, should be able to get out and give Tumwater an early advantage. And already met with a little bit of competition, but let's see how she finishes. It is right now Abby Sullivan in lane 5, a little bit behind Port Angeles with Ashley Reed, who's putting together a strong finish to get to the wall first. And we transition with Port Angeles in the lead to the breaststroke. And a good advantage here for the top qualifying team. Kylie Otten, the freshman, looking to complete this qualifying heat, the prelims, and a good challenge being put together out of lane 6 from Seaholm, the defending state champions overall as a team. They're not going to go quietly. They'll touch the wall second, but continuing to lead Port Angeles here as we move to the butterfly. And Carter Juskovich putting together a strong outing here. Big lead for Port Angeles, the top qualifier in this event. Into the freestyle we go. And Audra Parizo, a sophomore, looking to finish it off for Port Angeles. The battle for second. Out of lane 6, that's Seaholm with the second place lead at the moment. Mark Morris also in there at third. Tumwater struggling a bit out of lane 5. Here's Port Angeles for the finish. They touch the wall in the fastest qualifying time. And the battle between Mark Morris and Tumwater completed as we've wrapped up all 3 heats now of the 200-yard medley relay. A little bit about our lineup here for this preliminary match. We will go from the 200 medley relay prelims to the 200 free, followed by the 200 intermediate medley, individual medley, Radler, followed by the 50 free. The diving prelims will take place all throughout this event. The finals will be separated out as an individual event tomorrow, but the diving prelims taking place concurrently. A little bit later, we'll have the 100 fly, the 100 free, the 500 free, the distance event, followed by the 200 free relay. Always a spectacular outing. followed by the 100 backstroke, the 100 breaststroke, and then the capper, the 400 free relay. So we move quickly right into the 200-yard freestyle. And in this one, we have one of our top competitors, and she'll be coming up in Heat 3. Jana Van Stone, just a freshman out of Lake Washington, the top qualifier. Here in Heat number 1, it'll be Gwendolyn Rowley, the top qualifier in this heat, third best overall with 2 minutes and 2 minutes even and 23 100ths. A sophomore out of Seaholm. She'll be in lane 4. The rest of the lane assignments from the top on down. In lane 8 is Deanna Renaga of Olympia. Sam Dennison in lane 7 out of Ellensburg. Alicia Hughes swimming for the Greyhounds of Pullman in lane 6. Tracy Macias out of Port Angeles, the second best qualifier in this heat with 2 minutes and 2 seconds, just a little over. Gwendolyn Rowley, we mentioned in lane 4. Jada Pearson in lane 3 for Capital, joining her Capital teammate Jessica Eidenmuller in lane 2. And then also Anna McNabb in lane 1 at the bottom out of Bellingham. As those the lane assignments in the 200-yard girls freestyle. Again, the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires. 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships from the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center here in Federal Way. Glad you could join us this morning. Coming up a little bit later here on the WIAA Network and Play On Sports will be the 3A and then the 4A prelims later this evening. So stay with us all day, and then of course the finals all day tomorrow. The record in the 200 freestyle in the 2A girls set back in 2007 by Amelia Masigi. 1 minute 51 seconds. The overall state championship record, 1:46:55 by Andy Taylor of Skyline. The competitors in this one, just 2 competitors under the 2-minute mark. So in all probability, those records will be safe this year unless an outstanding improvement by one of the competitors at this level. As we continue to wait here for the start of the first heat of 3 of the girls 200-yard freestyle. Couple of the storylines in this one. We mentioned defending champion Seaholm, able to unseat 2-time defending champion Squalicum last year. It was close right down to the bitter end, 223 to 212 the final team score in that one. We think Tumwater, Lake Washington, Ellensburg, and Port Angeles will be in the mix in this one. Pretty wide open affair, and these relay races oh so critical as they carry the larger point total than the individual races. And here we are set for the start of the first heat of the 200-yard freestyle. Clean start here, and keep your eye on the lane 4 where Gwendolyn Rowley, the top qualifier in this heat, gets off to a decent start. Tracy Macias and Jada Pearson also keeping pace. And right now, the early advantage to Macias out of Port Angeles. Again, one of those teams thought to be considered in the mix for the championship this year. This just the 7th year of 2A girls swimming of this particular classification. So some of the records at this classification have been set in the last half dozen seasons. Pretty tight race in lane 4 and 5 between Rowley and Macias, the 2 top qualifiers. We'll look for a strong kick from Rowley in lane 4. Right now, she has the half body length advantage. Jada Pearson in lane 3, battling for second. And right now, Gwendolyn Rowley in control. Rowley continuing to expand her lead here. Macias in lane 5, trying to keep pace in lane 3 with Jada Pearson, the freshman from Capital, trying to collect that second place finish here in the prelims. There's the finish, and a good one at that for Gwendolyn Rowley. Rowley in 2 minutes, even .18. So within actually a best on the season for Rowley. And she'll move on right now as the top qualifier, but with 2 heats left to go. Here comes heat number 2 of 3. Madeline Gilman in lane 4 from Bellingham, the top qualifier, second overall, posting a seed time of 1 minute 59 seconds. And 19/100ths. She'll be in lane 4. The lane assignments, the rest of them, here in the second heat of the 200-yard freestyle. From the top of the screen, in lane 8, Brooke Sires of Port Angeles, a sophomore, or rather a junior. The sophomore out of Kingston, Catherine Anderson in lane 7. Callan Gustafson, a senior out of Sumner in lane 6. Haley Rankin, second best qualifier in this heat, a senior from Prosser in lane 5. Madeline Gilman in lane 4. Josephine Hegeberg out of Squalicum, a junior, in lane 3. In lane 2, it's Ellie Pullman, sophomore from Seaholm, in lane 1. Evergreen's Emma Murray. And right now it is Brooke Sires with the first leg, the first touch of the wall and the quick flip turn, but not too far behind in lane 4 and 5, Gilman and Rankin respectively. 8 lengths of the pool here in the 200-yard freestyle. And Brooke Sires starting to fade a little bit, is pushing out in front there. Haley Rankin in lane 5, touching the wall first on the flip turn. But here comes Madeline Gilman in lane 4. Gilman just a little bit of an edge as we reach the midway mark. Gilman gets there first and starting to expand that lead over Rankin in lane 5. The battle for third right now between Gustafson in 6 and Hegeberg in 3. Gilman starting to pull away, as now to a half body length lead over Rankin. And she gets there first. Two minutes and 1 second and 22/100ths the finishing time. So about a second off the pace of Gwendolyn Rowley, the first qualifier in the first heat. And now we move on to heat 3 of the 200-yard freestyle. Jana Van Stone, the freshman out of Lake Washington, the top qualifier in 1 minute 59 seconds and 8/100ths. Will occupy that critical fourth lane. Van Stone, the top seed in the 200 freestyle here, and was part of 3 winning events in state qualifying times at the Northwest 2A district meet last week. Just a freshman. And the rest of the lane assignments around her. From the top of the screen, lane 8, Laura Chop from Lake Washington, a fellow Kangaroo teammate of Van Stone. In lane 7, Megan Smith of Clover Park. Hawkinson's Bailey Christensen, a senior in lane 6. Gabrielle Godlewski from WF West, a freshman as well, adjacent to Jana Van Stone. She's the second best qualifier in this heat. Van Stone in 4. Annika Stoker from Tumwater, senior in lane 3. Alexis Medelez out of Zilla, a senior in lane 2. And Jillian Mathis, sophomore from Sammamish, in lane 1 at the bottom of the screen. And it is, as we would have thought, Jana Van Stone in lane 4, the early advantage over the rest of the field. 27:59 the split for Van Stone. Now hits the wall at 50.42, or rather 58.42 at the midway mark. And continues to own a half body length or better lead over her closest competitors. Stoker in lane 3 and Godlewski in lane 5. Keep an eye on the outside. Lane 7, Megan Smith. And it looks like Van Stone starting to lose a little bit of that lead to Godlewski in 5. Final down and back here is the last split, 1 minute 31 seconds and 5/100ths. And Van Stone here in this qualifying heat going to be pretty close to neck and neck at the wall. Van Stone, her first state championships, is getting a battle here from Gabrielle Godlewski in lane 5. Van Stone pulling away a little bit. We'll see who touches first. It is Van Stone in a time of 2 minutes, 2 seconds, and 15/100ths. I'm not sure if she was putting it all out there here in just the prelims. But our top qualifiers, Jana Van Stone will finish 4th overall, as Gila Mathis of Sammamish finishes in 2:11, but rather Van Stone, the top qualifier in this one, followed by Stoker, or rather Godlewski, and then Stoker, and we'll get you the 8 that will advance to the finals tomorrow. We can give you the 200-yard medley relay qualifying times, and those that will move to the championship heat. Sumner, the best qualifying time in the 200-yard medley relay with 1:55.60. Followed by Port Angeles, Lake Washington, Ellensburg. All those teams considered contenders for the state title. Squalicum, defending two-time state champion from 2 years and 3 years ago, also in the mix in 5th. West Valley of Yakima 6th, Fife 7th, and Seaholm will round out the 8 that will battle for the state championship in the 200 medley relay tomorrow. Here in the 200-yard freeway, or 200-yard freestyle, Gwendolyn Rowley finishing in the top time, followed by Madeline Gilman, and that top time of Rowley, 2 minutes even, 18/100ths, followed by Madeline Gilman at 2:01 and change. Jana Van Stone finishes in 2:02.15, third best qualifier. Gabrielle Godlewski of WF West, a freshman, in 2:02.53. 5th is Haley Rankin of Prosser. Annika Stoker is 6th. Out of Tumwater, Josephine Hegeberg at 7. And Jada Pearson from Capital rounding out the top 8. As we move quickly into the next event, the women's 200-yard individual medley. As we start with the butterfly, and here in the opening heat, keep your eye on lane 4, Kelsey Crane from Clahoya, the top qualifier in this heat, and she's out to the early advantage as she wraps up the butterfly part. and now moves into the backstroke. So Crane, the sophomore, with the good advantage in second place right now in lane 5. Kelly Giffey from WF West that set the lane assignments all the way through from the top. Rachel Sun of Pullman in lane 8. Sydney Tollickson from West Valley, a sophomore in lane 7. Hannah Holmgren, a freshman from Seaholm in lane 6. Kelly Giffey out of WF West in lane 5. She's in second place right now. It's Kelsey Crane in lane 4, the sophomore, with the big advantage here. The third best qualifying seed time has the good advantage as they move to the breaststroke here, and then we'll finish with the freestyle. Meredith Sawyer from Fife in lane 3. Alicia Diddy in lane 2 from Sumner, and Ellensburg's Katie Masters at the bottom of the screen in lane 1. In this opening qualifier, the first of 3 preliminary heats in the girls' 200-yard individual medley. And it's Crane with the big advantage. Now we'll go to the freestyle here, the finishing leg. Down and back in second place right now, Kelly Giffey, and they're working to get the best times possible to move on to tomorrow's finals. And here comes the big kick of Kelsey Crane. Barring an unforeseen circumstance, she'll own this preliminary heat. The battle for time in second is Kelly Giffey in lane 5. And in lane 3, it appears it will be Meredith Saar. That will finish third. For Crane, a time of 2:11:52. Actually, it will be 2:11:52 would be her best time of the year, and actually would be the second best time swam this season, just behind Julia Sanders, who we'll see in the third heat. So already a great start for Kelsey Crane of Clahoya. And now we move to the second of the 3 preliminary heats. Lorraine Hack, the favorite in lane 4. The senior from Tumwater, the best time in this heat of 2:13:42. The lane assignments from lane 8 at the top. It is Rachel Sun from Pullman, a sophomore. Fellow sophomore from West Valley, Sydney Tollickson, is in lane 7. Seaholm's Hannah Holmgren is in lane 6, or rather, check that. It is Allison D. Myers in lane 8 from Mark Morris. In lane 7, it is Bailey Colombe. Olympia's Danielle Nelson in lane 6. In lane 5, Ada Beal. Lorraine Hack, we mentioned in lane 4, the one to watch. Ashley Hune from Sumner. In lane 3, Abby McGuire in lane 2 from West Valley, and Anacortes' freshman Bella Will is in lane 1 at the bottom of your screen. And Lorraine Hack has the early advantage in the butterfly. And now to the backstroke we go. Perhaps an opportunity, as we've got 3 competitors in lanes 5, 6, and 3 that are all trying to keep pace. And that would be Nelson, Beal, and Hune. Good touch, clean touch by Hack. And into the breaststroke, the third of the 4 in the medley. And she's got a good body length plus lead over her closest competitor, Seton Catholic's Ada Beal. And Hack continues to own this one. Last split, 1 minute and 2 seconds and change after the backstroke portion. The next split coming up here. 143.3. And Hack, the big lead. The battle is for second. Beal in lane 5. The junior trying to make up some ground. She's got a slight advantage over Sumner senior Ashley Hune. Here comes Hack, strong finish. And she will touch in 2:14.60. And that is just a little bit, about a second behind her pace, her seed time coming in. So perhaps saving a little bit for the finals tomorrow. But Hack, the top finisher in this one. Followed by Beal and then Hune. So Hack and company likely moving on into the finals. We'll set that scene for you in just a moment. Here's the third and final heat in the preliminaries. We mentioned the top qualifier, Julia Sanders out of Hawkinson, with a time of 2:09.18, the one to watch in lane 4. Sanders, an 8-time state champion. She's going for 2 more, competing in this event as well as the 100 butterfly. So Sanders, the senior out of Hawkinson, knows how to get it done here. The lane assignments: Carmen Y in lane 8 from Sammamish. Centralia's Haley Bash in lane 7. Port Angeles freshman Carter Juskovich in lane 6. Sumner's Madison Munger in lane 5. Sanders in lane 4. Alicia Hummel out of Ellensburg, a freshman in lane 3. In lane 2, it's Shirley Lamb, a junior from Seaholm. And rounding out it in lane 1 is Maxine Vanachkool from Olympia High School. She is a senior and already into the backstroke. Sanders, a returning champion in the 50 freestyle and the 100 butterfly. So 2 state championships won last year, trying to add this individual medley to the list of accolades in her stellar career. Touching the wall in 1 minute even, 41 hundredths rather. A body length plus lead over the closest competitor in Madison Munger in lane 5. Right now, the time to beat to be the top qualifier is 2 minutes even and 18/100ths, posted by Gwendolyn Rowley. 2:01.22 from Madeline Gilman of Bellingham and Jana Van Stone so far. Those are in the 200-yard free, 200-yard individual medley. So far, Kelsey Crane, the top qualifier at 2 minutes, 11 seconds and a half. Here's the final kick from Julia Sanders. She's getting some competition in lane 5 from Munger, but Sanders will touch first in a time of 2:10.41. And that 2:10.41 is the best, as Sanders just about a second and a half off her seed time coming in. She was getting that strong push from Munger in lane 5. Munger touching in 2:11 and change. And that will put her in the mix as probably the 3rd best qualifier. We'll get an update here and tell you the 8 that will move on, as we will now move to the girls' 50-yard freestyle, the first of 3 heats in a moment. So Julia Sanders already doing well. And the 200-yard individual medley. Waiting for the posting of those final times. already got the prelims for the 200-yard medley relay in the books, the 200-yard freestyle, and now the 200-yard individual medley. We've got the girls' 50-yard freestyle coming up in just a moment. And just waiting for the final postings of the times and the qualifiers. And we do have them now in place. Julia Sanders, the top qualifier, with 2:10.41, moving on with Madison Munger, who is pushing her there. She's the second best qualifier. Kelsey Crane is third, followed by Lorraine Heck. But it really will be a battle between Sanders, Munger, and Crane as the rest of the crew a couple more seconds off the pace. So that will set the table for the 200-yard individual medley finals coming up tomorrow. And now it is the 50-yard freestyle coming up. And the first of 3 preliminary heats. Keep your eye on lane 4. Claire Kaczynski-Murphy, a sophomore out of Lake Washington. Lake Washington, one of the teams thought to be in competition for the team state title. And this one, the fast race. Our lane assignments quickly. Brooke Bunnell in lane 8 for Lake Washington. Also Hannah Walker, sprinter out of Lake Washington in lane 7. Rebecca Jones in 6. Caitlin Zinsley out of Lindbergh in 5. Tala Hild in lane 3, Blair Zegan in 2, and Lillian Kurzal in 1. And touching the wall first, it will be Claire Kaczynski-Murphy in a time of 25:35. That betters her seed time of 25:65 coming in. So some good sprinting from Kaczynski-Murphy. And we'll quickly move to heat number 2. And Janae Miller of Mark Morris, the one to watch, a qualifying time of 25:65, equal to that of Kaczynski-Murphy coming in. Miller is in lane 4. So the lane assignments, Maddie Dahm in lane 8 from Squalicum. Toppanish's Katrina Johnson in 7. Port Townsend's Rose Ritter in 6. Capitals Hansine Willoughby in 5. Miller is the one to watch in lane 4. Kim Vincent from Steilacoom in lane 3. Victoria Maslenikova in lane 2. And Serena Falage in lane 1 from Port Townsend. And this one an even battle. At the turn, the split. A good one. Here comes the battle. Miller in lane 4 struggling. It's going to be lane 3. Kim Vincent that's going to touch first. And then I believe it was Hansine Willoughby of Capital. Janae Miller may be in that mix in 3rd. Broad difference in these 50-yard sprints after watching the 200-yard events. Coming up after the 50-yard freestyle will be the 100-yard butterfly. So here in the 3rd and final heat of the 50-yard freestyle, Ann Froelich, the top qualifier from Ellensburg, the one to watch in lane 4. In lane 8, it'll be Pullman's Rose Zhao. Kingston's Miranda Hoffer in lane 7. Selkirk's Erica Smith in lane 6. Jessica McKinney from Lake Washington in lane 5. Froelich in lane 4. Janessa Schulte in lane 3 from Capital. Clarkston's Charlene Rinker in lane 2. Laureen Feldman rounding things out in lane 1 from West Valley of Yakima, the Rams. So far, some strong competition in the 50-yard free. 2 heats in the books, and the time to beat is 25:35, posted by Claire Kaczynski-Murphy. Kim Vincent at 25.42 and Hansine Willoughby at 25.75, the top three so far through 2 heats. So already 2 times posted better than the best seed time coming in. Good start out of lane 5 for Jessica McKinney in the Kangaroo Sprinter. The senior has that early advantage. Froelich from Ellensburg in lane 4. Gonna have to battle to try and make up some ground. She looks like she's doing it, but in lane 3 it's Schulte, but it will be the Kangaroos. McKinney who touches first in a time of 25.72. And that will place her 3rd overall. And as they update the results here, we've got our top 8 moving on, and it will be Claire Kaczynski-Murphy, 25.35. Kim Vincent, 25.42 in second. Hansine Willoughby, the 3rd best qualifier at 25.75. Caitlin Zinsley is 4th, followed by Janae Miller, Rose Ritter, Tala Hild, and Victoria Maslenikova. And that'll wrap up the 50-yard freestyle. We're going to take a break here from the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championship preliminaries. We're back for more action after this break.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
Welcome back to Federal Way, Washington. Alex Webster along with you. Bob Akamian also with us on the call here. Throughout the day, it's the 2012 Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. This is the 2A preliminaries. Glad you could join us here on the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington. Les Schwab Tires presented activities here today. We've already got several events in the books, 4 of them to be correct, and we move on to event number 6 with the diving, considered event number 5. It is running concurrently here in the prelims today. We'll have the finals of that for you tomorrow. But event number 6 is the girls' 100-yard butterfly. And the butterfly will feature some of the top swimmers in the state, including Julia Sanders from Hawkinson, the defending state champion in this event. She'll be in the 3rd heat in this one. She has the top qualifying time of 58.28. Only one person has come close to that, in Lorraine Hack at 59.36. Everyone else is over a minute in their seed time coming in. But an opportunity here while the butterflyers get warmed up. And we have a little break in the action as we move pretty quickly through those first 4 events. In the state team competition, Seaholm, the defending champion, but they're going to get pushed by Tumwater, Lake Washington, Ellensburg, and Port Angeles. 4 teams considered strong contenders in this one. Tumwater, the real threat for the podium finish behind standout Abby Sullivan, who's came in seated number 1 in the 100 back and leads off the Thunderbirds state leading 400 free relay. She's also right behind Ellensburg's Taylor Wilson in the 100 free coming in. And we'll see that 100 free coming up after the 100 fly here in just a few minutes. We've talked about Sullivan. We've talked and already seen Julia Sanders, the senior from Hawkinson, the 8-time state champion that's going for 2 more in the 200 IM and the 100 butterfly. And freshmen starting to bring a whole new crop, a whole new look to the state championship scene, as a variety of them showing what they've got coming in. And freshman Jana Van Stone of L-Dub, Lake Washington, the top seed in the 200 freestyle coming in, and part of 3 winning events in the state qualifying times at the Northwest 2A district meet last week, as the Kangaroos looking to vie for a state title here at the 2A level. as the butterflyers getting warmed up here. After the 100 butterfly, it will be the 100 freestyle, then the 500, the distance event, the 500-yard freestyle. 3 preliminary heats, or qualifying heats, if you will, for the finals tomorrow. The top 8 times moving on to compete for the individual state title and points for their team tomorrow. After the 500 free, it's the 200 free relay, then the 100 backstroke, and then the 100-yard breaststroke, and then we're capped off with the big one, the 400-yard freestyle relay. So far, we mentioned several events in the books. And the most recent one, the 50-yard freestyle. And just recapping those that will move on to the finals tomorrow. Claire Kaczynski-Murphy out of Lake Washington, one of those teams looking to vie for the state title. In a time of 25:35. Kim Vincent, second, 25:42. Jessica McKinney, 25:72, also of Lake Washington. So Jessica McKinney will, along with Kaczynski-Murphy, help try to provide Lake Washington with some big points in that 50-yard freestyle tomorrow in the finals. Hansine Willoughby, Caitlin Zinsley from Lindbergh, Ellensburg's Ann Froelich, Janae Miller from Mark Morris, and Rose Ritter, as well as Tala Hild from Renton. The qualifiers for tomorrow in the finals. We'll also recap the 200-yard individual medley. Julia Sanders, the aforementioned state champion in the 50 freestyle and 100 butterfly last year, trying to add the 200-yard individual medley. She's the top qualifier by nearly a second over Madison Munger. At time for Sanders, 2:10.41. Munger, 2:11.27 from Sumner. La Jolla's Kelsey Crane at 2:11.52, and then there's a drop-off after that. But in the finals, Lorraine Hack of Tumwater at 2:14.60. Ada Beal from Seton Catholic, the 5th best qualifier at 2:16.55. Kelly Giffey from WF West, 2:17.87. Sumner's Ashley Hune in 7th place thus far, 7th best qualifier, 2:19.30. And Danielle Nelson out of Olympia, the final one in at 2:20.91. In the 200-yard freestyle, Gwendolyn Rowley, the top qualifier, in just over 2 minutes. And that was she came in with the 3rd best time. Madeline Gilman had the 2nd best time. She finishes with the 2nd best time after the preliminaries at 2:01.22. Jana Van Stone, who had the best seed time coming in, the freshman out of Lake Washington, will enter the finals with the 3rd best time at the state prelims here, 2:02.15. Gabrielle Godlewski out of WF West. Prosser's Haley Rankin, 5th. Annika Stoker from Tumwater, the 6th best qualifier. Josephine Hegeberg from Squalicum, 7th best. And Jada Pearson from Capital, rounding out the final 8 for tomorrow in the 200-yard freestyle. In the 200-yard medley relay, Sumner coming in with the best time in qualifying, 1:55.60. Port Angeles, 1:56.13. Lake Washington, 1:56.26. And so far in the early going, Lake Washington, the Kangaroos, with good qualifying times in each of the first 4 events. Ellensburg will be seated 4th after the prelims. Squalicum 5th, West Valley of Yakima 6th, 5th, 7th, and Seaholm rounding things out as the 8th best qualifier in the 200-yard medley relay. So that'll look at our prelim results thus far. We're going to go ahead and take another break here as the The swimmers warm up for our next event, our next grouping of events, the 100-yard butterfly, then the 100-yard freestyle. So we will step away for a moment. Here from Federal Way at the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center, it's the 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships, courtesy of WIAA, Dairy Farmers of Washington, and Les Schwab Tires.
Hi, we're Chris
and Anna Groneveld, local dairy farmers from Monroe, Washington.
The Dairy Farmers of Washington, along with Les Schwab Tires, are proud co-title sponsors of the WIAA High School State Championships.
The Washington Interscholastic Activities Association supports high school programs and activities that keep our kids growing in mind and body.
Today's high school students will be some of tomorrow's community leaders, and we feel it is important to do our part in helping foster an appreciation of community, responsibility, teamwork, and sportsmanship in today's youth.
The WIAA helps provide those opportunities through athletic, artistic, and academic competition.
Please join the Dairy Farmers of Washington and Les Schwab Tires in supporting young people in your community by attending your local high school state championships.
For a complete list of events and activities in your area, visit WIAA.com.
You can enjoy the best moments from this year's OSAA State Championships over and over again. Just purchase a high-quality DVD from PrepFilms.com. Order online from PrepFilms.com and you'll get an enhanced version that includes scoreboard graphics. PrepFilms.com also has an extensive archive of past OSAA State Championships. PrepFilms.com, your online home for OSAA State Championship video.
Welcome back to the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington. Les Schwab Tires, 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. Alex Webster along with you here in Federal Way at the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center. This, the preliminary heats. All building towards the finals tomorrow. We can let you know that the 2A finals will get underway at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So be sure to stay tuned and follow your favorite swimmers and teams tomorrow in the finals. We'll have the call here for you on playonsports.com and the WIAA network. Also a programming note that you can join us for the 3A and the 4A preliminaries in the Girls State Swim and Dive Championships coming up a little bit later today. So if you haven't quite had your fill of swimming and diving, be sure to check on back a little bit later as myself and Bob Akamian will bring you the highlights and the lowlights as well. And of course, a good opportunity for us to share with you that the diving preliminaries are taking place concurrently. Tomorrow they will be at this spot in the meet that we will feature the diving finals. And so right now that a little bit for this gap in time, a little bit of the reason for the gap in time is to try and maintain similar pacing. However, we appear to be getting closer to our next event coming up, the 100 fly. Our top participants, as we'll kind of bring you in on the diving portion of this competition. The defending champion from a year ago, Delaney Pugh of Fife, did not return, so we will have a new champion in 1 meter diving. But among the qualifiers, the top scoring qualifier, Tori Franzen of Squalicum, a senior. Should actually mention she was the runner-up last year with a 3:21.40 score, and is actually the second best all-time at state competition, but has been stuck behind Delaney Pugh the last couple of years. So this is the year for Franzen to step up and is among the favorites to get that state title. She'll get a push from several other competitors, mostly Rachel Howard, a senior from Tumwater, who qualified with a seed score of 3:10.40, just 16 points behind. So those are the ones to watch in the diving, and we'll bring you that competition tomorrow in its entirety. So now we get a little bit closer to getting underway in our next event, the 100 fly, which will be chased by the 100 freestyle, and then the distance race, the 500 free. The 100-yard butterfly, first of 3 preliminary heats. Our third best qualifier coming in is Haley Rankin of Prosser with a time of 1 minute, even, .94. She'll be in lane 4. The lane assignments in full from lane 8 is Lillian Kurzhall, a freshman. In lane 7, Caitlin Colombe of Ridgeway. Olympia's Danielle Nelson is in lane 6, a senior. It's a all pretty dominated field by seniors. Renton's Tala Hild, second best qualifier in this heat at 102.24. She's in lane 5. Haley Rankin, we mentioned, in lane 4. Ann Froelich in lane 3, senior out of Ellensburg. Lily Hyatt out of Centralia in lane 2, and Laura Chop, the Lake Washington senior, in lane 1. And we're underway. 4 lengths of the field in this butterfly. Last year, Julia Sanders of Hawkinson, the state champ at 56.29. She is the top qualifier coming in. She'll swim in the 3rd prelim. And it is Haley Rankin in the early going, but getting a stiff challenge in lane 3 from Froelich. A little better turn for Rankin, but Froelich right there. And it is Rankin in lane 4 with the slide advantage over Froelich as they take the turn here for the final length of the pool. Top 8 times will make it to the finals tomorrow. And here is Rankin, followed by Froelich in a time of 1 minute, 1 second, 14. So just a little bit off of the pace for Rankin off of her seed time coming in. And Froelich with a time of 1:01 and change. So bettering her seed time coming in as well. And that should be a good battle tomorrow. Here's the second of 3 preliminaries. Lorraine Hack is the one to watch in lane 4. Second best qualifying time for the senior out of Tumwater. One of 2 qualifiers with a time under 1 minute at 59.36. Lane assignments from lane 8. Top finishes Katrina Johnson, the lone freshman in the field. Cedar Wooley's Rachel Olson in lane 7. Archbishop Murphy's Claire McCloskey, a senior in lane 6. Alexis Medelez, I should say, from Zilla, a senior in lane 5. Hack is in 4. Steelicum's Kim Vincent in lane 3. Fife's Kiana Doris in lane 2, a sophomore. And the senior from Sammamish, Carmen Y, in lane 1. Here in the second preliminary heat in the 100-yard butterfly. And it is Lorraine Hack with the split time of 29:30. With the slight lead, she makes the turn here. The finishing leg. And it's got about a quarter body length lead on her nearest competitor in lane 5. That's Medelez. And then Vincent in 3. And it will be those 3, but it is Hack who finishes with the top time of 1 minute even and 9/100ths. And that time will be third best after the 2 best finishers in the first heat. Julia Sanders and Lorraine Hack both came in under a minute. And for the third and final heat in our 100-yard butterfly, Julia Sanders of Hawkinson in lane 4, the best qualifier coming in. Juliana Goit in lane 8 from Bremerton. WF West's Keisha Matz in lane 7. Madeline Hoffman from Capital in lane 6. Olivia Nielsen is in lane 5 from Squalicum. Sanders in lane 4. Sumner's Madison Munger in lane 3. West Valley's Lauren Feldman in lane 2. Jessica Eidenmuller out of Capital, a sophomore, in lane 1. Julia Sanders in lane 4, the winner of this event last year. And the top qualifying time, and you can see why, nearly a body length lead after a 26 and change split time. She is the one to beat. And she won last year in 56:29. Comes in with a seed time 2 seconds slower than last year's time. We'll see how she finishes up here, as it will be Sanders and then Munger behind her. Sanders with a time of 58:02. So that should better her seed time coming in and put her at the top. As with 3 heats now in the books, in the 100-yard fly, the 100-yard freestyle coming up very quickly here. And the results so far, just waiting for them to refresh for the 100-yard butterfly. Lorraine Hack and Haley Rankin, as well as Kim Vincent, were the top 3 qualifiers through the first 2 heats. And we'll get you the results of the 100-yard butterfly here momentarily as the swimmers ready for the 100-yard freestyle. First of 3 preliminary heats. Annika Stoker in lane 4, the one to watch, the senior from Tumwater, third best qualifying time of 55:52. The lane assignments. Zuleika Lopez Cruz is in lane 8 at the top of your screen. She's a sophomore from Fife. Blair Zegan from Sammamish, a freshman, in lane 7. Erica Smith from Selkirk, a senior, in lane 6. Ashley Reed, Port Angeles' junior, in lane 5. Going to try to give Annika Stoker a run for her money in lane 4. Seaholmes, Molly McGuire in lane 3, a junior, qualifying at 57:92. Tumwater senior Alex Cummings in lane 2, and Riley Martin, a senior from Sammamish, will round out the field in lane 1 at the bottom of your screen. Glad you could join us for the preliminary heats here in the 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. And the final results in qualifying from the 100-yard butterfly. Julia Sanders is the top qualifier at a time of 58:02, bettering her seed time. Madison Munger, also under a minute. Lorraine Hack, Haley Rankin, the top 4. Then Kim Vincent, Alexis Medelez, Ann Froelich, and Tala Hild, rounding out the final 8 in the 100-yard butterfly for the finals tomorrow. And again, that one will be Julia Sanders, title to defend, and she looks to have that one well in hand. We'll see if she can wrap that one up tomorrow and add to her 8 state championships already. So we wait here for the moment for the start of the 100-yard freestyle. This one won last year by Natalie Ruiz of Othello in a time of 51 even. The 2A record in the 100 freestyle set in 2006. In a time of 50 seconds .99 by Amelia Masigi of Centralia. The overall all-time state record state, and we should say state championship meet record of all classifications in the 100 freestyle, set in 2008 by Kent Lake's Chelsea Bailey in a time of 49.82. That is cruising, and so the ladies here will do their best to try and come close to that standard, but most importantly, they're going to try and match the time of Taylor Wilson, the top qualifier, who will swim in the third heat. The sophomore from Ellensburg qualifying in a time of 53.39. Right on her heels, Abby Sullivan, second best qualifier at 53.57. The senior out of Tumwater. She will be the class of heat number 2. And Annika Stoker, Tumwater senior, fellow Tumwater senior, in a time of 55.52. A couple seconds off the pace. So it will be Sullivan and Taylor, the ones to watch here in the 100 freestyle. Sullivan also top seeded in the 100 backstroke, which will be coming up later. And it looks like we're ready to go. Heat number 1 of the 100-yard freestyle. After this one will be the distance race, the 500-yard freestyle, but 3 heats, and these will go quickly. Keep your eye in the middle. Lane 4, Annika Stoker, and lane 5, Ashley Reed of Port Angeles. And the quick advantage goes to Stoker. On the inside, Molly McGuire of Seaholm, trying to keep pace, but the better turn made by Stoker, who's opening up about an arm's length lead over Reed in lane 5. Split time on this one, 26-21 for Stoker. Now a body length lead over Port Angeles' Reed, and starting to pull away as well from Molly McGuire. Keep an eye in lane 2, Alex Cummings of Tumwater coming on strong for the moment, trying to get that one of those top times. But pulling away, Annika Stoker. And her time as she touches 54.62. And that is the third best time in the state. It's her best of the season, but still behind Sullivan and Wilson. But she'll take it as she will move into the finals. Molly McGuire and Ashley Reed also should move on. But we will see when they tally up the times at the end. Here's heat number 2. And we mentioned Abby Sullivan, second best qualifier. She'll be in lane 4 with a time of 53.57. The field is set from lane 8 at the top of your screen. Jordan McDowell from West Valley. Pullman's Rose Zhao, a sophomore, in lane 7. Lane 6 is Sarita Solis, freshman from North Kitsap. Janae Miller in lane 5 for Mark Morris, a senior, battling against senior Abby Sullivan of Tumwater and senior Kelly Giffey of WF West in lane 3. Mark Morris's Rebecca Jones, a senior as well, in lane 2, and sophomore Lauren Lemaster from Lake Washington in lane 1 at the bottom of your screen. And we're underway in heat number 2. And quickly, first with the stroke is Sullivan in lane 4. And she'll make to the wall first. The quick turn and pulls away after a good turn. Giffey in lane 3 trying to keep pace, as is Miller in lane 5, but way out there in 6. That's Sarita Solis of North Kitsap, a freshman, trying to stay close to the leading pack, but pulling away is Sullivan. She should be a full body length lead after this next turn and into the home stretch. The split was 25-61 at the midway mark. We'll see if she powers down, owning a body length or better lead. The battle for second, though, Giffey in lane 3, and in lane 6, Sarita Solis. They'll touch in there. The finishing time, 53:41 for Abby Sullivan. 53.40. And that betters her 53.57 she came in with. And she'll move her way into the finals at the top qualifying time thus far. And on to heat number 3, where the class of the field, Taylor Wilson, the sophomore out of Ellensburg, the top qualifier with a 53.39. Count. Let's set the lane assignment. Charlene Rinker is in lane 8 at the top of your screen, junior out of Clarkston. Port Townsend's Rose Ritter in lane 7, a sophomore. Fellow sophomore Janessa Schulte out of Capital in lane 6. In lane 5, Caitlin Quatemps. And she is a freshman from West Valley. Wilson, that's Taylor Wilson in lane 4, the sophomore from Ellensburg. Lake Washington senior Jessica McKinney in lane 3. Bailey Colombe in lane 2, and Caitlin Zinsley out of Lindbergh in lane 1. And out of lane 5, it is Quatemps with the lead, but getting nipped at the wall at the turn by Taylor Wilson in a split of 25-60. And now it is Wilson pulling away. Quatemps in second to the wall, and behind them, Jessica McKinney in lane 3 in third. So here is Wilson touching the wall in a time of 53.45. I think that will be second best, but she'll take it as she qualifies into the finals tomorrow of the 100-yard freestyle. As we look for the results of the 100-yard freestyle here, we know Wilson moving on, Abby Sullivan moving on, Annika Stoker should also move on after a strong time in the opening heat. And just waiting for the final results of the preliminaries of the 100-yard freestyle, letting you know who will move on to the finals tomorrow. The next event coming up here, the 500-yard freestyle, the distance event. Kelsey Crane of La Jolla, the defending state champion in this event, has the third best qualifying time coming in of 5 minutes, 25 seconds and change. Gabrielle Godlewski of WF West, a freshman with the second best qualifying time, and Madeline Gilman of Bellingham, a junior, the best qualifying time at 5 minutes, 22 seconds, .99. And we'll get you the final results of the 100-yard freestyle here momentarily. But in the meantime, let's set the scene for the 500-yard freestyle. Heat number 1, we mentioned Kelsey Crane, the defending state champion, who won it in a time of 5 minutes, 15 seconds. 10 seconds off the pace from last year. She won it in her freshman campaign, now in her sophomore season, hoping not to slump and lose the title this year. And she's back to defend it. With the lane assignments in lane 8, Jordan Matheson from Renton, a senior. Callan Gustafson is in lane 7, a senior from Sumner. Clover Park's sophomore Megan Smith in lane 6. Archbishop Murphy freshman Kaylee McCloskey, the second best qualifier in this heat. She'll be in lane 5. Kelsey Crane, we mentioned, in lane 4. Alicia Hughes in lane 3. She's a senior for the Greyhounds in Pullman. Lake Washington freshman Gabrielle Rector in lane 2, and another Pullman Greyhound, this time sophomore Courtney Larson, will be in lane 1. Coming up after the 500-yard freestyle will be the 200-yard freestyle relay, then the 100-yard backstroke, followed by the 100-yard breaststroke, and then the final event, the 400-yard freestyle relay. And as we mentioned, diving taking place concurrently, the preliminary rounds. while the swimming is taking place, and then tomorrow we'll be able to feature that for you as well. Again, waiting for the finals of the final results of the 100-yard freestyle preliminaries, and they are in with Abby Sullivan, the leading qualifier, at a time of 53.4. Taylor Wilson, second at 53.45. Caitlin Quiamps is third. Annika Stoker, fourth. And the remainder of the four to compete in the finals tomorrow: Kelly Giffey from WF West, Jessica McKinney of Lake Washington, Sarita Solis of North Kitsap, and Janae Miller from Mark Morris, your qualifiers for the finals tomorrow. And we're underway here in the first heat of the 500-yard freestyle. We mentioned Kelsey Crane in lane 4, the one to watch. The 25-yard length of the pool here, so we'll go down and back 10 times in this event, which typically takes between 5 and 6 minutes to compete. And the early advantage for Kelsey Crane in lane 4. Her qualifying time of 5:25.80. The closest competitor in this heat is Kaylee McCloskey, and she's about 8 seconds off her pace. And McCloskey in lane 5, trailing right now Megan Smith of Clover Park, who is in second behind Kelsey Crane, the defending state champion in this event, looking to save perhaps a little bit of that energy for the finals tomorrow. A 500-yard freestyle state record in 2A, state meet record we should say, set in 2010 by Natalie Ruiz of Othello in 5 minutes even, .84. The overall state championship meet record from all classifications, set not too long ago in 2009 by Amber McDermott of Jackson High School in a time of 4 minutes, 41 seconds, .98. That one a stellar time back in 09, and that's been the best in the state meets throughout history. Kelsey Crane continuing to dominate, and she has about a pool length advantage over her closest competitor in this heat, Kaylee McCloskey. And of course, the top 8 times moving on to the finals tomorrow. McCloskey now out to 3/4 length of a pool lead in this one. And she operates in lane 4. Right now, Kaylee McCloskey in second, challenged in lane 3 by Alicia Hughes, who's about a body length back behind McCloskey. In 4th right now, Megan Smith in lane 6. And in lane 7, it's Callan Gustafson, followed in lane 2 by Gabrielle Rector. In lane 1 by Courtney Larson. And then in lane 8 is Jordan Mathiasen. But continuing to crank it out is Kelsey Crane in lane 4, broadening this out to nearly a length of the pool lead. Last split at 3:41.65. Crane ready for the next touch. At 4:14.16. Down to the final couple of lengths here. The sophomore from Cahoya, defending state champion in this event. Looking for the top spot in the finals tomorrow. And now on to the final lap for Kelsey Crane, who touches in 4:47.01 a moment ago. And she'll look to finish strong, looking to defend that state championship from a year ago. She'll still have a couple more years left to go. Not too often can you come in and potentially compete for back-to-back state championships, but I'm sure that's one of her many goals in swimming. And she's going to come in and touch the wall at 5:19.32, which betters her seed time coming in by over 5 seconds, close to 6 seconds. And at 5:19.32, a little bit closer to last year's state championship time of 5:15.42. So you got to feel pretty good if you're Kelsey Crane trying to defend your state title that you've just put up a pretty good number, which right now in the state of Washington is the best time of the season. And still awaiting 2 more finishers in this first heat. But Kelsey Crane getting the job done, putting up a big mark, and telling the top 2 qualifiers, Gabrielle Godlewski and Madeline Gilman, you got a little work to do. And so now moving on to heat number 2 of 3. We mentioned Gabrielle Godlewski, WF West freshman. More of the youngsters ruling the roost in this event. She is in lane 4. Second best qualifying time coming into the meet at 5:25.55. The lane assignments in lane 8. Port Townsend's Darby Flanagan in lane 8. Ellie Pullman in lane 7, a sophomore out of Seaholm. Archbishop Murphy's senior Claire McCloskey is in lane 6 as we're already underway. Lane 5, Keisha Matz, a junior from WF West. Her teammate, Gabrielle Godlewski, just the freshman out of WF West. Both of those competitors owning the middle lanes. So 2 WF West swimmers in lanes 4 and 5 expecting to pace this field. Sam Dennison is in lane 3, a freshman out of Ellensburg. Clarkston's Gabby Flock, the sophomore, in lane 2, and April Masters of Anacortes, a junior, rounding out the field at the bottom of your screen in lane 1. So already a lap and a half in the books. And it is the early advantage for Godlewski. And for Godlewski and Matz, this is kind of like training a little bit out there. You've got your 2 teammates in the middle of the pool. An easy stroll, but right now, Godlewski being challenged a little bit by Sam Dennison in lane 3. The rookie out of Ellensburg. Looking to keep contact and stay in good pace, but Dennison over 11 seconds behind Godlewski in their seed times coming in, but keeping pace right here. And the next split here, 1:35.42 for Godlewski, who continues to own this one now, pulling out to 3/4 body length lead. And all trying to surpass the time put up by Kelsey Crane, the defending state champ, in that opening heat. Nearing the midway mark of the 500-yard freestyle. And Kelsey Crane, or rather Gabrielle Godlewski, And that'll be a duel tomorrow between Godlewski and Crane if all goes to form. Throw Gilman into the mix as well. But Godlewski opening up a body length and a half lead over her teammate, Keisha Matz. And the split at the midway mark, 241.70. And 2 more trips to go for Godlewski in this 500-yard freestyle preliminary. Glad you could join us here from the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington. Les Schwab Tires, 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. Alex Webster along with you. Bob Akamian will be along as well as we cover the 2A here, the 3A a little bit later, and the 4A this evening. All from the cozy confines of the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center here in Federal Way. Host of the Olympic trials in diving earlier this year. The pathway, the road to London, went through this facility. Godlewski. Last split of 3:47.07. Pacing the field here. 3 or 4 body length lead now. As fatigue starting to set in for these swimmers. The distance event here. And Godlewski continuing to cruise. 4:19.97 at the next split. In second right now is teammate Keisha Matz. And behind her in close proximity, Sam Dennison of Ellensburg. Top entry time coming in was 5:22.99 from Madeline Gilman of Bellingham, who we'll see in the next heat. The bell lap for Godlewski with the last split of 4:52.27. Let's see what she's got left in the tank, knowing she's got a comfortable advantage. She's got that red mark on the sign down there. It says, go for broke. This is it. And down the final 10 yards, here comes Gabrielle Godlewski, touching in at a time of 5:24.16, which is a little bit better than a second, better than her entry time coming in, but will be second, I believe, behind Kelsey Crane in terms of seeding going in after completing 2 heats going into the finals tomorrow. Keisha Matz and Sam Dennison also touching second and third in times of 5:37 and 5:39. And we'll see how that shapes up for them when we tally up all the times. But a good bet that they will find their way into the finals tomorrow. And so we set the scene for our final of 3 preliminary heats in the 500-yard freestyle. And we'll get you an update as to where things stand after 2 heats here in the 500-yard freestyle momentarily. But we'll let you know, class of the field in Heat 3 will be Madeline Gilman, the junior out of Bellingham, in lane 4, coming in with the best qualifying time of 5:22.99. The lane assignments: in lane 8 will be Lacey Wentler from Fife, a sophomore. Capital's Madeline Hoffman is a junior in lane 7. Junior Esme Middaw from Pullman in lane 6. Gwendolyn Rowley, sophomore from Seaholm in lane 5. We mentioned Gilman in lane 4. Hansine Willoughby is a senior from Capital in lane 3. WF West's junior Lindsay Giffey in lane 2. And Megan Hoffman, also of Capital, a senior in lane 1. And the early lead taken by Hansine Willoughby, who came in with a qualifying time of 5:33.57. And she's out to the early lead in this one. half body length lead over Gilman in lane 4, who's nearly neck and neck in lane 5 with Gwendolyn Rowley. But it's Willoughby right now, the Capital senior. The Cougar with nearly a body length lead. And they're all going to be trying to best the early results. The best time put up so far through 2 heats, Kelsey Crane of Clajoya, the sophomore and defending champion, of 5:19.32. So that is the mark to beat. Right now it appears that the line to qualify for the finals, the time is likely to be in the 5:40 range. As we are still in the first half of the 500-yard freestyle. Reminder, coming up next, the 200-yard freestyle relay, with the diving preliminaries also taking place concurrently. We'll see if we can get an update on that one and pass that along to you here shortly. Now things starting to even up a little bit. As the early lead by Willoughby, she starts to tire a little bit, and right now it's neck and neck between Gilman in lane 4 and Rowley in lane 5. And we mentioned Willoughby in lane 3. Trying to stay in contact with the group out in lane 6. That's Esme Middaugh, Pullman Greyhound Jr. And now Gwendolyn Rowley, the Seaholm sophomore, a slight lead as we've reached the midway mark in the split at 2:42.05 for Rowley and company. And Willoughby starting to fade a little bit here, but Rowley and Gilman nearly neck and neck. Now it's Madeline Gilman starting to open up a slide advantage over Rowley. Gilman, the top qualifier at 5:22.99. Rowley just about 4 seconds behind that pace. So this is where we'll start to see some separation perhaps if those times do hold. Gilman starting to work that lead a little bit more. A couple more lengths of the pool to go. Down and back. Last split 3:47.50. And we'll see where Gilman touches here, although not giving up is Rowley, Gwendolyn Rowley out of lane 5. For 29.34, the last split. There's the next to last turn at the far end. Gilman and Rowley pretty much neck and neck here down the bell lap coming up. 50 yards to go. And you can start to see Gilman starting to pour it on a little bit. This is all about conditioning and focus. Gilman with the advantage. Rowley trying to pull a little bit closer. We'll see. This is just the prelim, so good times will get you in. You want to conserve a little bit for tomorrow, but it looks like it will be Gilman touching in first with a time of 5:24 and change. And for Gilman, a little bit off her pace of 5:22.99 coming in. But that 5:24 and change will put her right about second or third It's Kelsey Crane, the defending champion, that qualifies with the best time of 5:19.32, the only one to go under 5:24. So she's going to carry a 5-second advantage going into tomorrow's final. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have for you the 200-yard freestyle relay, and we'll also get you the final numbers on the 500-yard freestyle. We'll do that after we take this time out. From the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center in Federal Way, this is the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
Back with you here in Federal Way, Washington. It's the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center, and it's the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships, the preliminaries. As we're finding our way and identifying who are those that are going to compete for state championships tomorrow, both in the individual and team competitions. We invite you to join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the finals of the 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. We're waiting to get an update on who will be the final 8 in the girls 500-yard freestyle tomorrow. But coming up next, it is the 200-yard freestyle relay. 3 heats coming up, and Capital having the best time coming in. They will swim in heat number 3. They had a time of 1:44.72. Second best, Mark Morris at 1:44.84. And third best, swimming in heat number 1, will be Tumwater with a time of 1:45.63. They will be in lane number 4, and we'll set the lanes for you here momentarily. But again, trying to get you updated on the final results of the 500-yard freestyle. We do know it will be Kelsey Crane, the defending state champion, the sophomore, who will post the best time of 5:19.32 going into the final tomorrow. And it appears that it will be Madeline Gilman with a time of 5:24.05 from Bellingham. Gabrielle Godlewski in a time of 5:24.16. Gwendolyn Rowley also in the mix at 5:24.43. Those two duking it out in the third and final heat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Kaylee McCloskey in a time of 5:35.79. Hansine Willoughby, 5:36.50, the senior from Capital. And rounding out the final 2 spots, Keisha Matz, 5:37.01 from WF West. And Alicia Hughes, the senior from Pullman, Washington, the final qualifier for the finals at 5:38.64. So to the 200-yard freestyle relay, the defending state champion last year was Sumner in a time of 1:42.66. And Sumner will swim in this heat in lane 5. Right now, our delay prior to this event is that the starting stanchion for lane 1 is getting an overhaul down there, so a little bit of an equipment situation that's buying us a little bit of time right now. And of course, the butterflies in the stomachs of those competitors, the delay just only intensifying those as they await the opportunity here for the preliminaries. They work on the starting blocks here for lane number 1. But a good opportunity to set the scene for the 200-yard freestyle relay. State record in the 2A classification, state meet record set by Centralia in 2007 in time of 1:40.98. And the overall state meet record set by Juanita in 2009 and a time of 1:37.77. The lane assignments for this first heat of the 200-yard freestyle relay in lane 8 will be Kingston, followed by Aberdeen in lane 7. Squalicum will be in lane 6. Sumner in lane 5. Tumwater, the team to beat in this heat, in lane 4. West Valley of Yakima in lane 3. Sela is going to be in lane 2 and Olympia in lane 1. Once we can get the starting blocks for lane 1 repaired. We'll see if we can check in on the preliminaries for the diving portion, which have completed. And we'll see if we can get an update on the diving prelims and see who will advance, although we do know that Tori Franzen of Squalicum, the runner-up last year, who's posted one of the top 2 times overall in 2A state championship competition of 3:26.05. That was her entry. And she is the top-seeded one coming in, and with every anticipation that she would be the one to beat in that classification. So right now, with the starting blocks for lane number 1 being worked on, an opportunity for us to step aside while they get that squared away. And we'll be back in just a few minutes here from Federal Way at the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Center. It's the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championship Preliminary.
Hi, we're Chris
and Anna Groneveld, local dairy farmers from Monroe, Washington.
The Dairy Farmers of Washington, along with Les Schwab Tires, are proud co-title sponsors of the WIAA High School State Championships.
The Washington Interscholastic Activities Association supports high school programs and activities that keep our kids growing in mind and body.
Today's high school students will be some of tomorrow's community leaders, and we feel it is important to do our part in helping foster an appreciation of community, responsibility, teamwork, and sportsmanship in today's youth.
The WIAA helps provide those opportunities through athletic, artistic, and academic competition.
Please join the Dairy Farmers of Washington and Les Schwab Tires in supporting young people in your community by attending your local high school state championships.
For a complete list of events and activities in your area, visit WIAA.com.
You can enjoy the best moments from this year's OSAA State Championships over and over again. Just purchase a high-quality DVD from PrepFilms.com. Order online from PrepFilms.com and you'll get an enhanced version that includes scoreboard graphics. PrepFilms.com also has an extensive archive of past OSAA State Championships. PrepFilms.com, your online home for OSAA State Championship video.
Welcome back to the King County Aquatic Center. Alex Webster along with you here on the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires. 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championship preliminaries. We are moving on now into the 200-yard freestyle relay, the first of 3 heats. We apologize for the delay. They were working on the starting blocks there for lane number 1. You got to have the equipment in operation and ready to go in order to make things work out here. So we thank the facilities crew for getting that all squared away. And of course, the team that probably is most appreciative of that is Olympia, since that's the blocks that they're using. Again, let's recap the starting lanes, or the lane assignments, I should say. Kingston is in lane 8. Aberdeen in lane 7. Squalicum in lane 6. Sumner in lane 5. Tumwater, the team to beat here, the 3rd best qualifying time, in lane 4. West Valley of Yakima in lane 3. Sela is in lane 2. And Olympia, we mentioned, in lane 1. And we're ready for the start. And we're off. The 200-yard freestyle relay, the first of 3 heats. Tumwater in lane 4, out to the early advantage, as we might have assumed. We'll see how they finish in this one. Leading it off for Tumwater is Malaya Bailey, the senior. This one actually a fairly senior-dominated team. As Winter Heron and Alex Cummings also on the team, seniors. And a transition made flawlessly for Tumwater, as they are just driving it home here, already into the second leg, a body length lead. Good flip turn from Winter Heron. On the way to give off to Alex Cummings, and a nice transition there as well, as Tumwater leading this one by a body length. Right behind them in lane 5 is Sumner, and then out in lane 6 is Squalicum. West Valley of Yakima well behind in lane 3, off the pace of where they were for their qualifying time. This one is all Tumwater right now. Split of 1:17.23. On to the final leg here. This is Marguerite Henderson for Tumwater, trying to bring it home. For Sumner, they're going to have to settle for second place in this preliminary heat, because it is Tumwater coming home in a time of 1:41.77. That is the best time in the state right now. So a good finish by Tumwater, and they set the mark to beat for the teams in the remaining heat. And we'll move on to heat number 2 of the preliminaries. Mark Morris coming in at second best qualifying time at 1:44.84. That time's already been crushed here in the opening swim here by Tumwater, who said, here's the line, you got to cross it to get to us here in the finals. So Mark Morris in lane 4, but setting the rest of the lane assignments. Clarkston is in lane 8 at the top of your screen. Sammamish in lane 7. Seaholm in lane 6. Lake Washington in lane 5. They're going to be a worthy competitor in this one, as will Ellensburg in lane 3. Fife in lane 2, and Steilicum in lane 1. So keep your eye on Mark Morris, Ellensburg, Lake Washington, and of course Seaholm, a team that won the state championship a year ago overall. They should be good in this one as well too. Sumner was the state champ in this event last year. And we're off with Mark Morris. In lane 4, the early advantage. That's Sage Johnson, the sophomore, on the opening swim. And she'll touch the wall first in a split of 26.23. And a near body length advantage as she hands it off to Grace Johnson. Good turn. Lake Washington trying to play a little catch-up out there in lane 6, or rather lane 5. Seaholm also trying to catch up. They've passed Lake Washington into second place in lane 6. Here's Allison Myers for Mark Morris, a split of 52-40 or 52-87 for Mark Morris as they try to add to their lead. Lake Washington and Seaholm in lane 5 and 6 respectively, trying to keep pace. The Kangaroos now passing up Seaholm, but a body length lead built here for Mark Morris as Tasha Sharrow into the pool, trying to bring this one home for Mark Morris in the second preliminary heat. The big turn, a split of 1:18 it was a moment ago. Let's see what this finishing time will be. Lake Washington trying to hold on for second behind Seaholm, and the finishing time of 1:45 and change is a little bit off their seating pace coming in, and a little bit slower, a few seconds slower than top qualifier Tumwater. So Tumwater really throwing down a big number. Mark Morris not able to answer. And now we're on to heat number 3, where it'll be top qualifier Capital with a time of 1:44.72. And that will pace things. The full lane assignments here. Cedar Woolley in lane 8. Bellingham is in lane 7. Port Townsend in lane 6. Port Angeles in lane 5. They could really give a run to Capital. Hawkinson, led by Julia Sanders, one of the top swimmers in the state. She will swim leadoff for Hawkinson in lane 3. Pullman is in lane 2, and Renton in lane 1. The final qualifying heat in the 200-yard freestyle relay. And a fast start out of lane 3 for Hawkinson. That's Julia Sanders putting the pedal to the metal. Hawkinson and Sanders. Hawkinson's big swimmer, Julia Sanders, freestyle and 100 butterfly defending state champion, going for 2 more state titles, an 8-time state champion, showing why as she hits the wall first. A big split of 24-20. Huge number and a big lead as Hawkinson, a body length lead. This is Monica Krubeck trying to hold on, but in lane 4, it's Capital closing the gap. Jessica Eidenmuller cutting that lead in half, but Hawkinson still with the lead with a split of 51-47 at the midway mark. As Bailey Christensen trying to hang on to it, but this is Jada Pearson for Capital, catching her at the wall with the turn. Capital, showing why they were the top-seeded team coming in, has taken over the lead. Pearson going to the wall, giving way to Hansine Willoughby, trying to close this one up for Capital. Hawkinson, Haley Kirsch trying to get the lead back, but it might be too little too late. Big turn coming up for Capital. Hawkinson in second, being challenged way out in lane 6 by Seaholm. But this one is going to be all Capital. Finishing time for the Cougars of 1:43.94, second best qualifying time. And so the Cougars will take their bid for a state title in the 200-yard freestyle relay into tomorrow's finals. Hawkinson will likely also be there. Huge leg by Julia Sanders, showing why she's won as many state titles as she had. But unfortunately for Hawkinson, just not enough depth to maintain that lead, and Capital showing their skills. And we'll try to get you caught up on the final list of qualifiers for the 200-yard freestyle relay that will swim in the finals tomorrow. On to the 100-yard backstroke. The top qualifier, Abby Sullivan, in 59.33. second best qualifier, Tracy Macias. She'll swim in Heat 2, and here in Heat 3, the third best qualifier, Caitlin Quamps, freshman from West Valley, in a time of 101.92. She's the one to beat. The rest of the lane assignments, Hannah Uffins is in lane 8, a freshman out of North Kitsap. Caitlin Colombe is in lane 7, a senior. Seaholm's junior Shirley Lamb is in lane 6. Lake Washington sophomore Claire Kaczynski-Murphy is in lane 5. Quamps in 4. Freshman Alicia Hummel from Ellensburg is in lane 3. Alexander Putzer is in lane 2. And in lane 1 is sophomore Maddie Green. As we have a slight delay in between the events here. Coming up, the 100-yard backstroke. And again, waiting for the preliminary results for the 200-yard free relay, and we'll pass that along here shortly. But Tumwater classing everybody with a time of 1:41.77, best in the state thus far this year. And they're going to hope that they didn't exert too much energy getting to that time, but that is a solid time for Tumwater. Less than a second off the 2A state championship meet record. Let's see if they can better that tomorrow. The 100-yard backstroke coming up. Last year won by Carly Bach of Squalicum in a time of 57.61. The 100-yard backstroke record for the 2A classification at the state meet, set in 2008 by Natalie Ruiz of Othello in 55.70. And the overall state meet record set by Peninsula's Lindsay Marchand in 2008. Set by Leona Jennings of Mount Rainier in 2008 in a time of 53.66. But the best time coming in here in the 2A classification this year, the 59.33 put together by Abby Sullivan. It was helping to lead Tumwater perhaps to a state title. Tumwater, Lake Washington, Ellensburg, and Port Angeles, all contenders. Seaholm, the defending state champion. Squalicum, the defending runner-up from a year ago. But that dust will settle tomorrow in the finals. And still waiting for the update on the finalists in the 200-yard free relay. The diving opening rounds have taken a break and are now back underway. So the 100-yard backstroke coming up, soon to be followed by the 100-yard breaststroke, and then the finishing event, the 400-yard freestyle relay, as this meet has moved along quite quickly. And a reminder that the 3A and 4A preliminaries will be coming up later this afternoon and evening, respectively, here on PlayOnSports.com. We hope you'll join us. Opening moments here is, again, the butterflies, I'm sure, kicking up. We had that long delay for the work on one of the starting blocks here not too long ago. But right now, just waiting for the start of the 100-yard backstroke, first preliminary. And we do have the finalists for the 200-yard free relay, and we'll pass those along to you here at our next opportunity as the final 8 have been set. But keep your eye on lane 4 here as Caitlin Quamps of West Valley, the top qualifier in heat number 1. And we're underway. And it is Quamps with the early advantage, opening up a little bit of a lead here after the first length of the pool. Down and back and down and back. And we'll see where she ends up as she has that lead, although getting a little bit of challenge out of lane 6 from Shirley Lamb. It'll be Quamps touching at a split of 29:45. On pace for under a minute if she can hold it. Quamps continuing to hold on. Lake Washington's Claire Kaczynski-Murphy in lane 5. Owning second at the moment, being pushed though by Shirley Lamb of Seaholm out in lane 6. It's Quamps of West Valley looking to finish here strong. Touches the wall in a time of 1 minute even and 92/100ths. And that will better her 101.92 that she came in by nearly a second. So a good leg by Quamps. Also Kaczynski-Murphy and Shirley Lamb getting some good numbers up on the board and will be in the mix for the finals tomorrow. We'll see how the final 2 heats settle up. Heat number 2, it's Tracy Macias in lane 4 of Port Angeles, the senior, with a time coming in of 101.26. She's the class of this field. The lane assignments, Abigail Saar of Fife in lane 8. Jada Pearson in lane 7, a freshman from Capital. Sumner's Alicia Diddy is in lane 6. Hawkinson's Bailey Christensen in lane 5. Macias in lane 4 with Olivia Nielsen in lane 3, the freshman from Squalicum. Cedra Woolley's junior Rachel Olsen in lane 2, and Squalicum sophomore Abby Von Felt in lane 1. And we have a scratch as Bailey Christensen of Hawkinson not in the water in lane 5, but the early lead is to Tracy Macias. And she's got about a body length lead over her nearest competitor, Alicia Diddy in lane 6. And here comes Macias. She had a split of 30.09, trying to finish strong here and work her way into the final. And she'll touch in a time of 101.44. Second will be Diddy in a time of 103.41. But the 101.44 for Macias is just a little bit off her seed time pace of 101.26. But that should be good enough to get her into the final. And so here is the third and final heat with the class of the field. Abby Sullivan, the top qualifier, the lone qualifier, under a minute at 59.33. She'll be in lane 4. The rest of the lane assignments, Miranda Hoffer, a junior from Kingston, in lane 8. In lane 7, Kaylee McCloskey, freshman from Archbishop Murphy. Mark Morris Jr., Victoria Maslenikova, I should say, is in lane 6. In lane 5, Ashley Reed, a junior from Port Angeles. Sullivan in lane 4. Gabrielle Rector in lane 3, a freshman from Lake Washington. Pullman Jr. Esme Middaw in lane 2. And Abby McGuire, a junior from West Valley, rounds out the field in lane number 1. But keep your eye on Abby Sullivan. $59.33 coming in. And a clean start once again. Nearly half a length of the pool underwater for Sullivan as she comes up with the early advantage. At the turn, it is Sullivan. Powering strong to the wall and opening up a bigger lead. Split time of 29-13. Nearly a body length lead over Rector in lane 3. Ashley Reed in lane 5 also trying to maintain contact, but Sullivan bringing this one home in the third and final preliminary heat. She'll touch first to battle for second. Time of 59.78. That is the best qualifying time here and just a little bit off her pace of her seed time of 59.33. Good run, good swim for Abby Sullivan. So Sullivan into the finals. Macias should also find her way to the finals. And we have the 100-yard breaststroke coming up momentarily. We'll try to update you on the results of the 100-yard backstroke here. As we get the chance, we also have the results of the 200-yard free relay also to pass along at the next opportunity. But here is the 100-yard breaststroke, heat number 1. Ashley Hune of Sumner, the third best qualifying time. She'll be in lane 4. The rest of the group, Camille Davis from Pullman in lane 8. North Kitsap's Ellie Gallagher in lane 7. Another Pullman Greyhound in lane 6. It's Courtney Larson. Seaholm's Hannah Holmgren in lane 5. Seton Catholic's Ada Beal in lane 3. She's a junior. Centralia in lane 2. Haley Bash, a senior. And Mark Morris, a junior. Grace Johnson is in lane number 1 here in the 100-yard breaststroke. Last year, this event won by Katie Kastner of Anacortes in 104.28. The meet record in the breaststroke was set by Kastner last year. The overall state meet record set by Lindsay Marchand of Peninsula in 2008 in a time of 102.00. But the best qualifying time here at the 2A classification was Taylor Wilson, sophomore from Ellensburg, in time of 108.05. She'll swim in the third and final preliminary. Results in the 200-yard free relay. The 8 that will swim for the title tomorrow. Tumwater, the best time of 141.77. Capital at 143.94. Sumner and Mark Morris rounding out the top 4. Then Lake Washington, Seaholm, Squalicum, and Fife. Those will be the 8 swimming for the 200-yard free relay championship tomorrow. Meanwhile, in the 100-yard backstroke, just completed a few moments ago, Caitlin Quamps, best time of 1:92. The 100-yard back, Caitlin Quamps moving into the finals. Claire, oh, check that. We've had an update. I thought somebody was missing. Abby Sullivan, 59.78, the best time. We did have one under a minute. Then Caitlin Quamps. Tracy Macias at 101.44. Claire Kaczynski-Murphy, the 4th seed. Alicia Hummel, 103.52 out of Ellensburg. She'll be 5th. Gabrielle Rector, the 6th seed from Lake Washington at 103.69. Shirley Lamb, a junior from Seaholm, in time of 103.73, will be the 7th seed. And Victoria Maslenikova rounding out the field of 8 that will swim in the finals tomorrow here at the 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. So we've got you caught up on all the finalists that are in the books. It is the 100-yard breaststroke that we're waiting for the start of here. And after the 100-yard breaststroke, the 400-yard freestyle relay. And it appears we're just about set for the start of the 100-yard breaststroke. And here we go. Again, keep your eye on lane number 4, Ashley Hune of Sumner. Third best qualifying time coming into the meet. Clean start. And we're underway in the 100-yard breaststroke. Hune the advantage coming out of the blocks. And a good turn here, opening up a bit of a lead. At a half a body length, but a strong push underwater coming from Seaholm in lane 5. That is Hannah Holmgren. But Hune out to a body length lead. She'll turn here. A split time of 31:06. If she can maintain that pace, it would be a huge, huge time. Here's the turn. No question about it. She's got the lead. The question is, what will that final time be? Holmgren right now in second for Seaholm, and down in lane 3, that is Ada Beal from Seton Catholic. She's getting challenged out in lane 2, but it is Hune that taps in with a time of 1:08.71. That is over 1 second better than her seed time coming in. She's got to be pleased with that. So Ashley Hune throwing up the time now, and we'll see what happens in these final 2 heats. In the second heat here, it's Meredith Saar of Fife, a sophomore, coming in with second best qualifying time of 1:08.91. She'll be in lane 4. The rest of the field, Emily Wall is in lane 8 from Pateros. Sammamish's Jillian Mathis in lane 7. Centralia Lily Hyatt in lane 6. Squalicum with Josephine Hegeberg in lane 5. Sawyer in lane 4. Kiana Doris in lane 3, a sophomore from Fife. Port Townsend's Serena Village in lane 2. She's a senior. And seniors Johanna Forbes in lane 1 from Steilacoom. This is the second heat in the 100-yard breaststroke. Another clean start. Saar emerges first with the slight advantage. He's got her teammate in lane 3, Doris. Now on her left, and then on her right. That's Squalicum's Josephine Hegeberg. But right now, it is Saar in the lead. Another good turn and a split time of 32 even. One more length of the pool to go for Meredith Saar. Trying to see if she can better the time posted by Ashley Hune in the opening swim here in the 100-yard breaststroke. And the time at the touch will be 1:09.34. And that's a little bit off her pace of 1:08.91 coming in. Should be good enough to get her to the final. And on to heat 3 we go. The final heat of the 100-yard breaststroke, and this one should be a very talented field. as it will feature the top qualifier in Taylor Wilson, a sophomore from Ellensburg, qualified in a time of 108.05. She'll be in lane 4, but right next to her, Jana Van Stone, an up-and-coming freshman from Lake Washington. She'll be in lane 5, has posted a time of 110.87. Second best qualifier in this heat, fourth best overall. So keep your eyes on lane 4 and lane 5. The rest of the field, Leah Day is in lane 8 from Seaholm. Renton's Luis Batista is in lane 7. Carter Juskovic in lane 6. She's from Port Angeles. Van Stone in 5, we mentioned. Wilson in 4. Catherine Anderson is in lane 3 from Kingston. Ellensburg's Katie Masters in lane 2. And Squalicum's Shay Fowler in lane 1. And it is an early advantage for Wilson of Ellensburg in lane 4. As they reach the midway mark, Van Stone off on her right. And then Seaholm's Juskovic, or rather Port Angeles' Juskovic. Those are the 1, 2, 3, but a tight lineup there. Taylor touching at 32.43. Starting to open up the advantage over Van Stone. Van Stone about a half a body length behind. But here comes Wilson down the home stretch. It's Wilson, it's Van Stone, and it's Juskovic. In lanes 4, 5, and 6. And Taylor Wilson touching it at a time of 109.27, which is a little over a minute beyond her seed time of 108.05. So this one a little slower heat than had been hoped for, I think, from Wilson and company. Otherwise, they're just trying to get into the final. And we'll get you updated on the final 8 that will make it to the final here in the 100-yard breaststroke as the teams gear up for the 400-yard freestyle relay coming up in just a moment. Through 2 heats of the 100-yard breaststroke, Ashley Hune, who stuck a time of 108.71 in the opening heat, said come beat it, and nobody's done that so far. So Sumner Sr. will have that top seed going in. Waiting for the rest of the 3rd heat to filter into the standings, but Meredith Sawyer will make it, as should Josephine Hegeberg and Hannah Holmgren. We'll also see how the results from the rest of Heat 3 factor in to that mix. But the 400-yard freestyle relay, the capping event here of the preliminaries of the 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships, coming up here in just a moment in Heat number 3. It will be Ellensburg, the team to beat, 3rd best qualifying time of 3:51.08. And the rest of the lane assignments will have Clahoya in 8, Mark Morris in 7, Bellingham in 6, Seaholm in 5, Ellensburg we mentioned in 4, Pullman in lane 3, Aberdeen is in 2, and in lane 1 will be Anna Cordes. The 400-yard freestyle relay. The best qualifying time, Tumwater in 3:44.60. They'll swim in Heat 3. Lake Washington, 2nd best qualifying time. They'll swim in Heat 2. Last year's state champions in the 400 freestyle relay, Squalicum, in a time of 3:44.29. 2A girls state meet record was set by Squalicum 2 years ago in 2010 at 3:42.41. The overall state championship meet record, all classifications, set by Rogers of Puyallup in 2003, a blazing 3:29.68. The diving preliminary still looking to wrap up down at the other end of the pool. We'll have the diving finals for you tomorrow. So teams gearing up, and some of the athletes out there doing just about anything to loosen up before this event. A lot of stretches. This is where the team part really comes into play, and the camaraderie. And the work that you put in, not wanting to let your comrades down. And a real battle going on out there because you want to get into those finals. You want to get everything going. I see one swimmer down there doing either the YMCA or some other dance down there to get loose. And still awaiting the finals, or the list of finalists for the 100-yard breaststroke, and we do have them in now, as it will be Ashley Hune from Sumner in a time of 1:08.71, followed by Taylor Wilson of Ellensburg, time of 1:09.27. Then it's Meredith Saar, Josephine Hegeberg, Jana Van Stone, Hannah Holmgren, Kiana Doris, and Carter Juskovic, the 8 that will swim for the state title tomorrow in the 100-yard breaststroke. But the question is, who's going to be there in the 400-yard free relay? That we're about ready to find out in just a few moments. Again, we'll do our best to try and pass along the results of the preliminary dive competition. However, that may not be fully completed by the time that we wrap up our broadcast today. A reminder that we'll have the 3A and the 4A classification preliminaries also coming up. The 3As this afternoon on the WIANetwork.com, as well as the 4As early this evening. And we hope you'll join myself and Bob Akamian throughout the day for the preliminaries, and then tomorrow for the finals of all 3 classifications here from the King County Aquatic Center in Federal Way. And it looks like we're ready to go for this opening heat of the 400-yard freestyle relay. Each swimmer goes up and down 2 times. So down and back and down and back. Ellensburg in lane 4. The ones to keep an eye on. Seaholm in lane 5 also should be paid attention to. And it is Ellensburg off the starting blocks that gets underway, and it's Ann Froelich, a senior, with the good flip turn. Getting her the early advantage, but Seaholm not too far behind. Gwendolyn Rowley swimming this opening leg. Nearly a half body length behind Froelich. Split time of 26:68 for Ellensburg. 3rd best qualifying team coming into the state meet. Now opening up a bit more of a lead is Froelich over Rowley and Seaholm. But right now it is Ellensburg and Seaholm, and a battle for 3rd back there in terms of qualifying. Just shooting for the best times here. And at the wall, Froelich touching in at a 56:44 split, giving way to Alicia Hummel. Freshman with a good turn here. Seaholm staying right with them as Seaholm's Shirley Lamb. Trying to finish this one strong. Split time of 1:25.76 for Ellensburg. Ellensburg hanging on to the lead, but here comes Seaholm. Molly McGuire, the swimmer. She's going to try and close this gap a little bit, and may have. As here comes Alicia Hummel for Ellensburg. Show power strong. Shirley Lamb into the water for Seaholm. Split time a moment ago, halfway through, of 1:57.62. And Seaholm starting to make up some ground. Still nearly a body length lead for Ellensburg. Hummel will give way to Taylor Wilson. After she completes this next leg here a moment from now. Sam Dennison trying to hold that lead for Ellensburg. And here is Taylor Wilson, the talented sophomore for Ellensburg, trying to bring this one home. Seaholm. Ellie Pullman. We'll see if she can close the gap down. It's really Ellensburg and Seaholm in this one. A distant third place right now for Pullman as Rose Zhao trying to close the gap and hold on to that third spot, but it's all about time right now. 3:22.51, the last split. Here's Taylor Wilson. Final turn, down the final stretch. Seaholm's Ellie Pullman trying desperately to catch her, but it's not going to get it done. Final 5 yards in this one. And the time for Ellensburg, 3:51.61. And that is just a little over a half second off their seed time of 3:51.08. Pullman touching in third, Seaholm second. And Seaholm's time, 3:53.92. So Ellensburg likely moving on. Good swims from Froelich, Dennison, Hummel, and Wilson. And on to heat number 2. This one will be led by Lake Washington, the Kangaroos, with a second best qualifying time of 3:46.52. Laura Chop, Jessica McKinney, Claire Kaczynski-Murphy, and Jana Van Stone. Talented freshman to try and bring that one home for the Kangaroos. The rest of the lane assignments, Linden is in lane 8, North Kitsap in lane 7, Olympia is in lane 6 with Capital in lane 5. Lake Washington in 4, Squalicum in 3, Prosser is in 2. And Lindbergh is in lane 1. And we're underway. Another clean start as Lake Washington powering out in front. This is Laura Chop. And after the first turn, Lake Washington in front, or not. Check it out. It's Capital in lane 5 that's got the advantage. Janessa Schulte, the sophomore, battling with Laura Chop for Lake Washington. Split time of 27.89. And it's neck and neck between Lake Washington and Capital. And then take a look down at the bottom. Here comes Prosser, Haley Rankin, putting on a show down in lane 2. And it's neck, neck, and neck. Lake Washington, Capital, and Prosser. And it looks like it might be Prosser. In lane 2, Haley Rankin's going to touch first. 58 even on the split. And Prosser, who came in with a time of 4:07.26, putting the pedal to the metal here in the second leg. This is Brianna Garcia. And now being passed by Lake Washington's Claire Kaczynski-Murphy. So Lake Washington back out in front. But Capital right there with them, as is Prosser. Kaczynski-Murphy. The big turn. Trying to add to that lead over Capital. She's battling Jada Pearson. And Lake Washington, the Kangaroo lead, leaping out to a big one. As here comes Jessica McKinney. Opening up a big margin over Capital. As Jessica Eidenmuller now into the pool for the Cougars. Down in lane 2, though, Prosser falling off the pace a little bit. In fact, might get passed by Squalicum here, but it's all Lake Washington Kangaroos. 2:17:55 the last split. And McKinney hoping to give way to Jana Van Stone, the talented freshman for the Kangaroos, looking to bring this one home. Here comes McKinney for Lake Washington. And here comes Van Stone into the water. 2:51:70 the split. Lake Washington with a body length and a half lead over the Capital Cougars. For Capital, Hansine Willoughby trying to close the gap. Into third goes Squalicum, and now Prosser in fourth place. Here's the turn, the split time for Van Stone and the Kangaroos, 3:18:04. And after a tough start that saw Prosser, Capital, and Lake Washington battle it out on the opening leg, Lake Washington is going to cruise to a victory here in this second preliminary. The only matter is the time, and that time will be 3:47:79. And that is going to be the best time thus far. Capital in second, in a time of 3:50:52. And Squalicum will be in third, but Lake Washington, that time of 3:47:79 is just a little less than a second slower than their 3:46:52 they brought with them here to the state meet. But Lake Washington will move on into the final, and now we're on to the third and final preliminary, the final event, the final swim of today's preliminaries in the 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships. And it will be the top qualifier, Tumwater. That will be in lane number 4, that coveted lane number 4. And Tumwater with a time of 3:44:60 coming in will be led by Abby Sullivan coming off the block. So keep an eye on her. The rest of the field, Port Townsend is in 8, Archbishop Murphy in 7, Sumner in 6, Port Angeles in 5, West Valley of Yakima in 3, Renton in 2, and Clarkston in 1. And here comes Abby Sullivan, top rated in the 100 back, as the leadoff of several relays. She has the early advantage, but being battled by Caitlin Quamps of West Valley there in lane 3. The Rams. Good turn, split time, 26:11. As Sullivan and Quamps battle it out in lanes 4 and lane 3. Port Angeles in lane 5. A little bit of ground to make up. It's Carter Juskovic trying to close that gap here. Sullivan will give way to Annika Stoker. And she does. Just ahead is Abby McGuire leaps in for West Valley there in lane 3. This one a neck and neck battle. Slide advantage for Tumwater. Nearing the midway mark of this third and final heat. Sullivan, check that, Stoker touching at a split time of 1:21:64 for Tumwater. Fastest qualifier coming in. And he's shown no sign of quit here thus far as we've patched the midway mark. Stoker will hand off to Lorraine Hack here in a moment. Meanwhile, West Valley not going anywhere, staying within a body's length. Abby McGuire to give way to Lauren Feldman. Here's Lorraine Hack for Tumwater into the water. Good lead here, over a body length lead. Lauren Feldman will try to make that up for West Valley in lane 3. Here comes Port Angeles out in lane 5. Several body lengths behind, trying to make up ground. That's Ashley Reed in the water for Port Angeles. But Lorraine Hack coasting very nicely out there. Very smooth strokes. Opening up an even bigger lead on West Valley and Port Angeles. Kylie Otten will be the final swimmer for Tumwater as she readies on the starting block. As Hack will bring it home. Nearly lapping one of the other teams. Here's the dive into the water as Kylie Otten will try to bring this one home. Split time for Tumwater, 2:49.39. Otten just cruising now, nearly a quarter pool length lead over the opposition. Port Angeles has now passed West Valley into second place. But it's all Tumwater in this one. 3:15.34 at the last split. Here comes the final turn for Kylie Otten. And Tumwater's going to win this prelim going away. The time, though, is what matters. And it will be 3:43.91. And that tops their top-seeded number coming in of 3:44.60. So Tumwater's got to be feeling pretty good. They've already improved upon their number. They've got the top qualifying time. Port Angeles second, West Valley third. In terms of the finish in the prelims, but it will come down to time. And we'll try to get you caught up on that here in just a moment as we let the numbers filter in. And we'll give you the final list of finalists. Here in the 400-yard freestyle. After one heat, Tumwater had posted a 3:44.60. Lake Washington a 3:46.52. But we've seen Tumwater come in with a fourth, 3:43.91. No doubt we're going to see a pretty good battle between Tumwater, Lake Washington, and Ellensburg in the pool tomorrow in the finals. And just waiting for the final tallies, but and those final results from the 400-yard free relay. But we've seen an outstanding meet here in the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championship preliminary round. Everyone's gotten a feel for the pool. They've gotten a sense of where they're going to be. They've been able to compete, get some good times up there, and now it's all about settling in to the finals tomorrow. And we're going to check once again, one more time to see if we can get the finalists into the mix, but we do know Tumwater is going to have that time coming in to the 400-yard freestyle relay, and that's the one everyone's going to beat, but Lake Washington will also be there as well. 3:43.91, a good one for Tumwater, and they'll be the class of the 400-yard freestyle relay. Well, that's going to do it here for the preliminary rounds of the 2012 2A Girls State Swim and Dive Championships here on the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington and Les Schwab Tires broadcast. We invite you to stick around. 3A and 4A coming up here in just a little while this afternoon and evening, but the finals for the 2A Girls State Championships coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. We hope you'll join us then. This is Alex Webster signing off from the King County Aquatic Center in Federal Way. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks.